For each pair of rectangular coordinates, plot the point. Give two other pairs of polar coordinates for the point. Where, when I'm doing the red one, I'm going to use 0 to 360 for my theta. And when I'm doing the blue one, I'm going to go from 0 to 2 pi, which means I'm going to use degrees for the first one, for the red one, and radians for the blue one. Okay, so anyways, let's get started. So A says plot the points. So then for the red one, this is all pretty straightforward for us. This doesn't change. So it's just going to be here, and that's my A. And then my B is going to be 0, negative 3, so that's going to be down here. And that's point B. Okay, so there's my 2 points. And that's part A. Oops. Part A. Okay, so now for part B says give two other pairs of polar coordinates for the point. Okay, so for A, we're going to go 0 to 360. So we're going to be using degrees here. So for the first one, we're using degrees. Okay, so anyways, so now, do you guys remember those equations we talked about in the last? If not, here they are. Okay, now we know, think about what we know here. We know x and y. So that means I want to be able to plug in my x's and my y's here. And when I do, I can find my theta and my r. So that's what we're going to look at. So we're going to use these bottom two equations from going to rectangular to polar. So we're using these two equations. So all I'm going to do is plug in for x and y. So I'm going to have 1 squared plus negative 1 squared. Now remember, this is my x, this is my y. Okay, and that equals r squared. So then this is going to be 2 because 1 squared is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, so r squared equals 2. So so r equals square root of 2. And in general, remember when we square root both sides, we say plus or minus. And we can use that, but for this one, we're just going to use the positive square root of 2 here. Possibly. Actually, we'll do this. We'll keep both of them in there because keep this in mind here. We're going to have to find more than one way to go. Okay, so our r can be plus or minus 2, or square root of 2. Okay, now we're going to find the theta here. So to find theta, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take this tan of theta, and we're going to plug in y, which is negative 1 over 1. So that's going to be 1. So then I'm thinking of where is tangent of theta equal to negative 1. So then I think about this here. Okay, so it's negative in the second quadrant and in the fourth quadrant. And also I know that these are going to be 1s here, and that's negative, of course. This one over here is going to be 1 and negative 1 down here. And this is square root of 2. So there's my triangle. So then I would say that tangent of theta equaling negative 1 can either be in the second quadrant or in the fourth quadrant. So the thing is the reason why I plot these points is to know what quadrant I'm in. And if you look at this, A is actually in quadrant 4. So it can't be this one here. So it has to be down here. So what is that angle now? I know this angle is 45 degrees. Now remember, we're in degrees here, so we can talk degrees. So if I went all the way around here, that could be 315 degrees. Or I could also call it negative 45 degrees. Okay, and this one wanted us to find 2 points. So I can say theta could equal negative 45 degrees or 315 degrees. So now let's put these points together. If I want my r to be positive, square root of 2, then my angle here could be negative 45 degrees, right? That would take me there. Okay, so I can say it's negative 45 degrees. And then if I picked the negative square root of 2, which would give me another point, I'll fix my 5. And then for the other point, I would get the negative square root of 2. So in order to get a negative square root of 2, where would I have to be? I would have to think about myself over here. Or no, let's just do the other one, even easier. Let's just take it all the way around to 315. That's even easier. So that's going to be 300. Oh, it can't be 315 degrees if that's going to be negative. Because then if I went all the way around here to 315, then I would need a positive there, which I could just do that. So instead of this being negative, I can say, hang on, I'm going to just make it a positive. And then I can go 315 degrees here. Now, if I did the negative, I would have to be over here. And then it would be there, and it would shoot through the other side because I do a negative. But that's good. We only needed 2 points, so there they are. Okay, so let's find the other ones now. So there's my answer for the first part. I mean, the second part, part B. Okay, let's do the other one now. So the other one's going to be 0, 3. So now I do my r here. I find my r for this one. So that's going to be 0 squared plus negative 3 squared equals r squared. So that's going to be 9 equals r squared. So r equals plus or minus 3. Okay, so I found that now. That's my r. So now I need to find my theta. So this is an interesting thing when you go to plug everything in here. And that's why I picked this one. That's going to be negative 3 over 0. What happens here? It's undefined. So this is where I have to just understand where I'm at on my rectangular coordinate system. And I see where the point's at, so it's easy enough for me to tell that it actually just goes all the way around to there. And that is actually, now again, I'm doing this one in radians, so that would be 3 pi halves. Or I can say it's negative pi halves, right? And if we think about tangent, that's where tangent is undefined at. So if we were aware of that, that would tell us that right away. So that's where we need to be. So 3 pi halves or negative 3 pi halves. All right, so that's my theta. And again, I didn't really use this equation here because tangent was undefined there. I just really had to think about where my points are at. And that's what I have to do when I'm on the quadrantals. And that's either the positive x-axis, positive y, negative x, or negative y. So that's how that works. So anyways, so then theta could equal 3 pi halves or negative pi halves. Okay, so now we can set that up with our 2 points for this one now. So then for my first point, I want to pick positive 3. And then if I pick positive 3, my theta is going to be 3 pi halves. And then can I pick a negative 3? And then if I pick a negative 3, think about where I'm at. I'm going to have to shoot through the other side. So if I go here, that's going to be the positive direction. And the negative direction is going to shoot out this way. So that would work. So I can go pi halves and then use the negative 3 there. So I'll do that for this one. Oops. Wouldn't be negative, it would just be pi halves because the 3 is negative. So there's my answer for part B. So